So if everyone can go ahead and try to take their seats, all members go ahead and come in. All right. This time I'd like to ask Senator Mills to lead us in prayer.
Father, we just pause for a moment to give you thanks, and thank you for the love that you bestow upon us through your Son, Jesus Christ. And we just pray for health and safety and all the people that are involved in the process today. Lord, give us a great day. We pray this in Jesus' name.
Amen. Let's please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have a quorum yet?
It looks like you do.
Okay. At this time, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Senator Chambers Armstrong, Senator Carpenter, Senator Mills, Senator Schickel, Senator Southworth, Senator Webb, Senator Westerfield, Senator Wheeler, Senator Williams, Senator Turner, and Chair Smith.
Present. We have a quorum. Okay, we have a quorum. Do we have a motion to approve our minutes? A second. All those in favor of the sign of aye. Aye. Opposed likewise, the motion carries. Do I have any members wishing to be recognized or any announcements right now? Okay, I actually have an announcement. I have my daughter Hadley Gray, who is joining me today, and it's her spring break, and this is the place she wanted to be. She loves government so much. She says she's going to be senator one of these days, but this is who she chose to be with, and it's you all and all of us, and I'm very honored. So, Hadley Gray, welcome to our committee. All right, with that said, we'll go ahead and call our first bill up. It looks like that's Senate Bill 220. Is that correct, girls? Yes. Well, we'll go with Senate Bill 220. Senator Williams, if you want to go ahead and take the table. Now, look, we've got 30 minutes, folks, and I want to be fair to everyone. I have quite a few people that have signed up to speak for and against. So I just want to tell you, if I have to cut you off, it's only for time. It's not to try to stifle anybody's thought. I have 30 minutes. I've got 4 bills. So please understand that I'm doing it just out of the respect for other members with bills. So I will turn this over to you, Senator Williams, and you have about 7 minutes.
Very, very good. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. There is a committee substitute on this.
Motion and second on the sub. Oh, we got a motion. Who's the second? Second on the sub. All those in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. We're speaking to the sub now.
Very good. And the only change in the sub is that in the original bill, there was a number of local groups that did nominations to the mayor, and that is now the mayor goes back to the way it is. He can just nominate who he wants to, except for there's a proportional representation of members in the county. The county judge gets to nominate some people for the mayor to appoint, so the mayor can appoint those. But I sent out a op-ed that I was in the Courier-Journal this week, and this bill essentially has 7 principles. One thing that people do not realize is 96.171 to 96.188, the only utility in the state that operates under that is the Frankfort Plant Board. Everybody else who has a utility either operates out of home rule, utility commissions, or they operate as a co-op or a TVA utility or an investor utility. They're the only utility in the state, as far as I know, that don't have a direct report to a governing body that's a city council, because they have the sole authority to decide what to do with their surplus, and they're not regulated by the Public Service Commission. So what this bill does is essentially it says that for ratepayers, all surplus goes to reduce revenue. All customers are proportionally represented on the Frankfort Plant Board. Fees in lieu of taxes are paid to schools and local districts. They have the authority to pay fees in lieu of taxes to schools right now. They never have. And the local districts in the city of Frankfort, they need the revenue from one of their largest corporations in the city. And then it gives the Kentucky Public Service Commission regulatory and complaint review like any other utility in the state and applies a couple of PSC regulations to them. There's a regulation about political, institutional, and promotional advertising that the Public Service Commission does not allow any co-op, any TVA utility to do on their own. Investors have to do it out of their profit, not from their rate money. The Frankfurt Plant Board is spending $100,000 plus of ratepayer money on the kind of advertising. So anyway, so that's it.
I have a motion, and if you want to, for time, we have a couple people that want to speak against it. So
Okay.
they have
Very good.
They're going to have the same amount of time. So I'm going to call the names of those that I have on here. Looks like John Coolzane. Okay, John. Yeah, if you want to come up, I apologize. I have Audrey Artsberger. If you want to please come up. I got Audrey down here twice, and Christina Powell, if you want to come to the table, this is your chance. And Anne Marie Rosen, I believe you're. Oh, I know, thank you. All right, so I believe I've got everyone that had signed up to speak. Is anybody out there signed up to speak that I called your name wrong, or you do not wish to come forward? All right, you all have 7 minutes to respond to that, so please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Thank you. On behalf of the Frankfurt Plant Board, my name is John Cubine. I'm the chairman of the board, and I appreciate the opportunity to address the committee regarding Senate Bill 220. We feel that the Frankfurt Plant Board has been in operation for over 80 years. We're a community-based nonprofit government entity. We operate just like any other government, open records, open meetings, ethics, procurement code, so forth. We don't feel that the issues that are raised in 220 are an issue at all. We've not had any problems, governance issues, or major issues that have come up. We're appointed by the city commission. We're appointed by the mayor, confirmed by the city commission. We serve 4-year terms. Basically, our concern is there's numerous things in the bill, but I know time's limited. Basically, this began last June with the discussion about whether we want to sell our telecom operation or not. We operate 3 lines of business. We operate electric, water, and telecom. We have over 20, I think you're aware of, over 20 local organizations around the state, various public organizations who are agreed with us in opposition to Senate Bill 220. The Senate Bill 220 does propose that we basically begin remitting property tax, which basically just becomes a charge to customers like any other utility, any other private business. Taxes become an operating cost, they're above the line cost, and basically would result in at least a $3 million increase to our ratepayers, and we're concerned about that. We feel like we run a good operation, and we think Senate Bill 220 is not good legislation. The City Commission in Frankfurt right now has the ability to change the plant board at any time. They've had that authority, and by a public vote, they can make any changes to the plant board they want to, and we're opposed to Senate Bill 220. Thank you, sir.
Very good. Thank you for your comments. Ladies, would you all like to say anything? Oh, I'm sorry. Would you all please give your name for the records, please?
Of course, Mr. Chairman. My name is Audrey Ernstberger. I'm with the Kentucky Resources Council. We have 3 main issues with this bill that I will go through as quickly as possible. The first is that it would make it harder for combined electric and water boards to offer ancillary services that are of value to customers on a nonprofit basis. The second is that it constrains the mayor's power to appoint a member of the governing body that adequately represents city customers of a combined municipal electric and water utility. And lastly, that it inappropriately directs the Public Service Commission to assist with the resolution of customer complaints, which is beyond its jurisdiction. It would be a better function to direct it to the Attorney General's office. On the first point, this bill would make it harder for combined electric and water boards to offer ancillary services that are of value to customers on a nonprofit basis, such as broadband service. In Section 5, subsection 4 of the bill, there is a prohibition against the board using revenues from the provision of electric or water utility services to subsidize activities unrelated to the provision of that service. And while we agree that the revenues and expenses associated with the ancillary services like broadband should be separately accounted for, we're concerned that the language could be read to prohibit the pledging of electric or water utility assets in a manner that would be helpful to fund or build out and upgrade the internet broadband service. In the past two sessions, as I'm sure you all are aware, the General Assembly codified and expanded the ability of electric cooperatives to pledge assets in a manner that would help extend broadband to underserved rural areas. And this seems to run counter to the Commonwealth's efforts to provide universal high-speed broadband to all communities, an attempt to constrain the ability of municipal combined boards to do so. And to the extent that it would lessen the availability of municipal broadband service and leave only for-profit private carriers, there's a real risk of uneven or no coverage. And since many for-profit providers did not historically extend their service to underserved rural areas, even areas close to municipalities, absent significant federal subsidy that is now being provided, there are significant, on a separate point, there are significant public benefits related to competition created by allowing nonprofit providers of essential communication services. Second, we're concerned that this constrains the mayor's power to appoint a member representing city customers of a commission. And the aspect of this that's problematic is the list of nominees generated by business development or area development corporation recommendations. We believe that this fails to assure the interest that residential customers are adequately represented and delegates effective control over the appointment to non-governmental interest representing a small bandwidth of the public. On the third and lastly, is that Section 10 of the bill requires the Public Service Commission to assist in the resolution of consumer complaints of customers of any water or electric utility service provided by combined electric and water systems or plant boards established under KRS Chapter 96, and shall review the rates of the customer for each of those combined electric and water systems or plant boards at least once a year. I just want to point out that the PSC has no jurisdiction over combined electric and water systems and boards and no authority to direct the resolution of citizen complaints. We believe the Attorney General's office is the more appropriate place to direct concerns regarding the provision of municipal services, as are the elected representatives of customers of the municipal system. An already strapped PSC staff should not be required to assist in the resolution of complaints against systems outside of their jurisdiction or ability to control. With respect to rate reviews, the PSC does not review or control rates charged by municipal utilities, and the statute provides no benchmark against which such a review would occur, nor would it allow the PSC access to the books and records necessary to allow for meaningful review of rates. So placing municipal utilities under this jurisdiction for rates and service is a proposition that KRC believes is worthy of a discussion, and we are glad that we're having it, but selectively requiring the PSC review of rates of a municipal combined system when it has no standard against which to review the rates, no authority to approve or reject the rates regardless of how reasonable or not, and no authority to request access to the records needed for such a review is not the solution to the concerns about the combined municipal system rates. For each and all of these reasons, we respectfully request that you vote no today on SB 220.
Very good. Thank you for your comments. We have one other guest at the table, and there's only like 20-some seconds left, but I do want to give you, I don't think it's fair to you, so I do want to give you 2 minutes. And please identify yourself for our records, and I'm going to give you some time here, okay?
Thank you so much. Christy Poe, I'm here representing myself as a member of this community of Frankfort and Franklin County and a consumer of the Frankfort Plant Board. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to state why I'm in opposition of Senate Bill 220. I, as a member of this community, find it hard to understand how all of a sudden Senator Williams has taken an interest in this when we have so many of our public services that are closing, that have closed, and there are other things that we are in need of him focusing on. As a member of this community, we love the Frankfort Plant Board. We have chosen the Frankfort Plant Board, and we have the power to dissolve the Frankfort Plant Board if we so choose. We have chosen not to do so. I don't understand why we need to be regulated in that, why our decisions and our voices have to be silenced and given to another body of power to make those decisions for us. We are able to make decisions for ourselves. The decision that we have made in this community is that we would like to keep the Frankfort Plant Board as it is. Senator Williams, thank you so much, but we do not need your interference. We do not need your regulations. Thank you.
All right, very good. Listen, thank each of you. There was one other person on here. I'd said before, if I missed your name, to please go ahead and come forward, but it looks like Anna Marie Rosen. If you're there, I apologize. we have, I can literally give you maybe 2 minutes at the
Okay.
max, and I apologize.
Thank you for the 2 minutes. I'm Anna Marie Rosen. I live in Frankfurt. I'm a
swear to God.
happy member of the Frankfurt Plant Board. I also am a former chair of the Frankfurt Plant Board. It is a responsive utility to community concerns. It is effective, giving us water, electric, and cable internet. I agree with Christy Poe's comments, especially about why now, what's wrong. We're happy. It's functioning well. The Frankfurt Plant Board does many in-kind things, especially the cable telecom department, and it's helpful to us. Thank you very much for fitting me in, and I appreciate if you would vote against this bill. Thank you.
And thank you for your comments. And understand, I mean, we're on time limit today, and I apologize to you, but there's still going to be plenty of time for comment on this. Is this, whatever happens with this bill, if it goes onto the floor, there'll be time there, and it still has to go through another chamber. So today, they just put us in these 30-minute blocks. So please don't feel like you're not going to be heard on these issues. So,
Well, thank you.
Senator, oh, please go
And I
ahead.
did send information through the LRC as well.
Thank you. Senator Williams, you already have a motion. I believe, do we have a second on that? Seconded, okay.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. I'm going to go ahead and call for roll unless you want to say something.
Obviously, I have a reply, but let's just vote.
Call for roll, please.
Senator Chambers Armstrong, Senator Carpenter, Senator Mills, Senator Schickel, Senator Southworth,
Explain my no vote, Mr. Chairman.
Please go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, Frankfurt was my community, and it's my husband's home community. And so I have family that lives here, and we have been evaluating this. I've had lots of former constituents reach out to me about this. And honestly, looking through the bill, I can see some of the items here are items that I'm open to discussing. But it seems like there are a lot of different pieces here, and they don't all need to be necessarily in one package. They certainly need to have more comb through at very minimum. And I think that knee-jerk reactions are usually not the best way. And so I'm voting no for all my former constituents, for my current family, for my community where I go shopping, go to church, everything. And thanks so much for everybody that's put a lot of time into this. Thank you.
Senator Turner,
Explain my vote. I'm going to vote aye solely to get it possibly out of committee, but I'm voting against it and going to talk against it if it gets over on the Senate floor. I done told my friend that.
Senator Webb,
Explain my vote.
Please do.
I'm going to vote no. I've been a part-time resident of this city for 25 years, and I've lived in the city for months. Friends that work for the plant board and friends on the plant board itself. And let me tell you, the main reason I'm voting no is that gentleman right there, John Cubine, who I've had the opportunity to work with, and everybody knows he's a man above reproach. If there was something wrong there, he'd be the first one coming to us. He's got an intellect that I can't compete with, and he's been known to stand up for what's right. And I just feel like if there was a problem, that John would be the first one knocking on our door to fix it. So I vote no.
Senator Westerfield, Senator Wheeler,
Aye.
Senator Williams, Chair Smith.
I vote aye. Hold on one second. Okay. I vote aye, but I also want to explain my aye vote. I think that this is a important piece of legislation that needs to be talked about. I do not know what the outcome will be, but I've been here for a long time, and I found out that I come from the coal fields. So there's a lot of urban issues that I really don't have the expertise on. So I try to stay back and watch what the urban officials do and let them kind of take care of their business and bring us into the fold as rural legislators so we can help make a decision based upon the people that live in that region. Same thing with energy and coal and rural. I try to file pieces of legislation I know something about. I feel that Senator Williams feels passionate about this and deserves to be heard. Today, obviously, is a much more micromanaged attempt to get this to the floor. So my vote's to try to get more dialogue to it. If it gets to the floor and I'm unhappy with where it is, I've already explained to Senator Williams, I'm not going to support something I don't feel good about, but I think this does give it a chance for you all to have this discussion. So with that said, Senate Bill 220 with committee substitute attached thereto passes with favorable expression that the same shall pass on to the Senate floor.
Good. May I explain so I'm not saying there's anything illegal, immoral, unethical going on here. This is just a matter, explaining my yes vote and why I'm doing this is to push the process along and get a discussion going about ordering the plant board like every other utility in the state. That's what I appreciate y'all's support in doing that.
Very good. Now, we're going to have to move rapidly. At this time, I will bring up Representative Gentry and House Bill 378. And as we're looking at this, Representative Gentry, I keep moving you up. You have a substitute, is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
All right. Motion on the sub, second on the sub. All those in favor, the sign of aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. We'll address the sub. Senator Gentry, go ahead and, Representative Gentry, address yourself and have your guests identify themselves for our records.
Thanks for the promotion, Mr. Chair. I'm Representative Al Gentry, House District 46, and I've got a couple of geology experts from the state of Kentucky with me.
Yes, thank you for having us today. My name's Bill. Oh, there we go. Now we got it. Bill Brab, work for AST environmental firm here in Central Kentucky. Also the treasurer for the American Institute of Professional Geologists, and I'm also the chairman of the Professional Geologist Licensing Board.
I'm Dr. Trent Garrison. I'm the former president of Kentucky Academy of Science and current policy chair. And I'll cut out everything else I was going to say. We represent about 5,000 scientists around the state, and we're pretty much, everyone I've talked to is unanimously in favor of this bill. So we just want to thank you and thank Representative Gentry for having us here today. Thanks.
Mr. Chair, I know time is of the essence. I will be as brief as I possibly can. Basically, what we have here is we're trying to get our symbols, our state symbols, scientifically accurate. For many, many years, we honored a state mineral that was really probably a rock. Is a rock and a state rock that is.
If you're not sure, let's
more
make sure
like a mineral.
Right, yeah.
This passed very quickly through the House.
Motion on the bill.
A motion and a second. You want to go ahead and address it?
I think at this point I've learned to keep my mouth shut.
I asked let's see, give me 1 second. The motion for passage of House Bill 378 as amended by the committee substitute with the expression of opinion the same shall pass. Ask the clerk to call the roll.
Senator Chambers Armstrong. Senator Carpenter. Senator Mills.
Rock solid aye.
Ooh.
Senator Schigel. Senator Southworth. Senator Turner. Senator Webb. Senator Westerfield. Senator Wheeler.
Aye.
Senator Williams. And Chair Smith.
I vote aye. House Bill 378 with the committee substitute attached thereto passes with favorable expression that the same shall pass on to the Senate floor.
Second.
Motion for consent.
Second.
All those in sign of favor, aye.
Aye.
So hopefully that'll have you taken care of.
Thank you.
Again,
Appreciate it.
Thank you very
helping us
much.
do this quickly. All right, and last but not least, House Bill 478. And you all know how it goes when you come to the table. If anybody's going to be with you, just have you address yourself for our records, identify yourself for our records.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jonathan Dixon, State Representative, District 11.
Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very simple bill here. House Bill 478, just upon the request of the applicant, the cabinet may increase the size of a construction and demolition waste site to 2 acres. That is what the bill does. It does
Motion
not
on the
change.
bill.
Motion second. Audrey, I always mess your name up, please forgive me. Would you like to take 2 minutes and speak on your position on this bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to speak. It's Audrey Ernstberger with the Kentucky Resources Council. I will keep it brief. Like the sponsor mentioned, House Bill 478 would allow the doubling in size of 1 acre off-site construction and demolition debris landfills, or CDD landfills, provided that it meets the permitting requirements for the initial landfill. Our concern is that expanding the size of CDD landfills that lack liners, groundwater monitoring, could actually lead to more groundwater pollution within surrounding communities, and expanding an exception was never intended to support commercial CDD landfills. The current construction standards for these landfills that are under 1 acre are notably less protective than landfills of greater than 1 acre, and that accepts the same types of wastes. Smaller CDD landfills are allowed to operate without important safeguards, such as liners, leachate collection systems, and surface and groundwater monitoring that are required for the larger CDD landfills, disposing, again, of the same types of waste. The potential for contamination from leachate containing lead and other pollutants of concern doesn't begin at 1.1 acres or end at 0.9 acres. And so the 1 acre cutoff is entirely arbitrary and unrelated to the potential for off-site contamination. Expanding this arbitrary distinction doubles the risk of inadequate management of CDD waste to 2 acre sites instead of on 1 acre sites. Expanding the smaller CDD landfills to 2 acre sites poses a threat to environmental well-being and human health of the surrounding communities. Although CDD landfills are intended for non-hazardous and non-soluble materials, there are peer-reviewed studies that indicate the presence of concerning chemicals that can be detrimental to both human and environmental health. I do have a list of some of those chemicals. I'd be happy to share the peer-reviewed white papers that I've received those from, but in the interest of time and to preserve my ego because I cannot pronounce some of the complicated chemicals, I'm going to pass over that section. But also,
we've run out of time. We've got to turn this room over to another group from what they're telling me, so I do apologize. If
Sure
you do
thing.
have papers to submit to us, please do. We'll make sure every member in here gets a copy of it, and I'm sure if you want to speak to any of the members one-on-one, they'll be happy to sit down and talk to you, me included. So I'll wait after the committee if you'd like to.
Thank
But
you.
in the effort of time, at this time, I have I'd like to get this straight. The motion for passage of House Bill 478 with the express opinion that the same shall pass. Ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Senator Chambers Armstrong. Senator Carpenter. Senator Mills. Senator Schickel. Senator Southworth.
Aye.
Could you please repeat your vote?
Aye.
Senator Turner.
Aye, and I'm going to explain my vote. The bill clearly puts the cabinet in the position of doing their job just for another acre, so I see no problem with it.
Senator Webb. Senator Westerfield. Senator Wheeler. Senator Williams. And Chair Smith.
I vote aye. House Bill 478 passes with favorable expression that the same shall pass on to the Senate floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
We have a motion for
Chairman,
consent.
committee members.
Oh, I'm sorry, we can't put on consent. All right.
Unless someone wants to change the rope.
Got you. Thank you again. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second, all those in favor, sign of aye. We stand adjourned.